This channel is supported by TrueFire. TrueFire is an online library
enough, you can get the TrueFire All Access Pass for as cheap as they ever do it, the $99 thing. So just jump and do that if you're looking for the best price you can get TrueFire All Access for. Okay, this is a guitar which, if you're a regular, you may have seen me mention this in videos that I've done around partcasters. Now, in my time, I've built like 3 partcasters, and I started a 4th, which I never really expected to finish. And for reasons, well, essentially I had this guitar in the house that I lived in before this one, and I bought this body and the neck. Now, I think, is it GSP was the name of the company on the fretboard forum that I checked out for this. Now, it ended up being that the neck for it I actually got with it, I didn't really like. So it's just a body blank. Then I'd done the body essentially quite roughly. It's still pretty rough, but this was the first guitar where I'd figured out that nitro blonde kind of worked for the aesthetic that I liked.
But underneath that, I did the normal thing that I did with my other TWATOCASTers, which was to finish it with Jenkins Gecko Fill black. So underneath this is Swamp Ash, and you put on the Jenkins Gecko Fill, and then you sand that back a bit, and you get like this nice grain-filled aesthetic to it. And then there's a little bit of blonde nitro on top, so pretty thin finish. And then we moved house. This went and lived in a shipping container at my parents' house for a long time, and I never really thought that I'd finish the guitar, and I didn't. John Martin, buddy from up the road, who's been working on a few of my guitars, essentially I just said, like, I've got this thing that maybe could be something, and I found this AllParts neck on eBay, and I just decided, so this is already like a slightly relict neck, and I thought that's quite a nice neck. And so yeah, I haven't plugged it in yet, so I thought we could react to this thing together. We'll go through some of the parts that are on it. It's obviously quite lightweight. It's a very light nitro finish. John has done a great job putting it together. Aesthetically or whatever, it is what I chose. He's made the scratch plate for me. I did buy another scratch plate, but it didn't fit these pickups from Monty. So Monty supplied the pickups, which are their retro wind humbuckers. And then we've got a 3-way switch and a push-pull here. And yeah, let's see how it sounds. I'm kind of excited. First of all, how do you think it looks? It's one of those things where I think I gradually got a little bit more knowledge of how like a finish kind of work, kind of. This is now, because it's sat in that shipping container for so long, quite aged, and it's like checked and stuff like that. So I mean, it is at this point like five-year-old body, I think, that it just sat. So I don't know, maybe that makes it half decent, or maybe it doesn't. Monty's, I've been really impressed with their pickups, so it was my first choice really when I thought, like, I need to get some pickups put in it. And they're based up in I've been loving about these Monty's pickups so much is just that they're so responsive, and you don't have that thing that for me some humbuckers have, where they're just they're just so bright and not bloated. I've got Gotoh tuners in here, vintage style, which are sounding like they're in tune. I think John had to reseat quite a lot of these frets. I think quite a lot of them were pretty loose. So I'm happy with the tone. Right, here's the moment of truth. Let's coil split this boy. Even be the opposite way round. To me, it. Like, that is not actually dropping in level much. Now that, I am very happy that exists, and I think, yeah, I just didn't really have time to put into this, and I didn't really even feel like I had the skills to make this worthwhile. John has really neatened it up. It's, you know, a joint effort, thanks to Monty's as well for the electronics, making them, their pickups are just so good. So if you're ever looking for a guitar company, you know, where you're thinking, like, I'm not confident on electronics, they make looms, which is part of what's in here. They make pickups. Like, I would just talk to George and Matt over at Monty's. They make fantastic pickups that, to me, sound great. Charlie Allen has these pickups in his ES335, a vintage ES335 that he tours. You know, that kid knows his tone. Yeah, I would absolutely wholeheartedly recommend, if you've got a guitar that you want to kind of take over the edge, and it plays well, but maybe needs a bit of a kick in the ass in terms of pickups, Monty's, to me, if you're in the UK as well, they're just fantastic stuff. And again, my buddy John, you know, doing his luthier work on this, just, to me, proves that this guy absolutely knows what he's doing. He's been working on guitars his whole life, but is looking to take on some more of this kind of work. If you're in the Devon area and looking for someone, then I would absolutely say give him an email and see what this guy's about. And if you want to try any of these guitars that he's set up of mine before getting in touch with him, you're very welcome to ask. You know, these are inexpensive guitars that I've had worked on in general, you know, partcasters and Roadstars and a Tokai. And, you know, I'm very impressed with what he's done with them. I need to record an intro, but this is fantastic. This is it largely exceeded my expectations and then some. It's a lovely sort of C neck. I think it's the AllParts, just normal C. It feels really good. The frets are just your average sort of size. Because it's been pre-reliced, it doesn't have any sort of roughness to it. It's just a beautiful thing. I'm really, really, really happy with that. And because I left it in a shipping container for so long, the body's already sort of reliced, and it kind of works as a whole kind of piece in my mind. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Cheers for stopping by.